Welcome, gentlemen.
My name's DRay. I've actually been involved with PACE for about 35 years. I started when PACE was still a pilot program and got to work under the great leadership of Judy Baskins. And I've worked in transportation those 35 years and become real good at it. And I love to go around and help PACE programs get better at it and help them prevent a lot of pitfalls and downfalls and do whatever we can to help the participants.
And Vernon, what's your background here?
I'm also have about 23 years in PACE. Also have about another 5 years in Airborne Express. That helping with scheduling, routing, building routes, and things like that. So been a part of PACE, serving the seniors about 23 years. Again, with along with Darrell, worked under what we call the great Judy Baskins, her leadership, and developing the PACE model, and developing how to actually make transportation work efficiently and effectively.
Transportation is such a big part of the PACE experience for participants. What is your point of view on that?
When I think about transportation and the participant experience, first of all, it's that friendly bond that the participants build with their drivers. And they also build that trust with the families. And it creates a sense of comfort and enriches the entire PACE experience. It sets the tone for that whole PACE experience to make them feel welcome.
Vernon, how do you feel about PACE and the transportation experience?
How I feel about it. I feel like that transportation is the face of the franchise when it comes to PACE because we're the direct link. We're the first people that the participants see and the last people they see at the end of the day. We form, like Darrell said, the relationship. We actually become family. We've done things as much as speak at their funerals, at family requests, come to birthday celebrations off the clock, that type of things. We believe transportation is the face of the franchise. PACE.
Transportation, so critical. Darrell, what are the top pain points that PACE operators experience?
I could think about three pain points that come to mind. One is participants' wait time, being picked up and returned on time. Another one would be their routes not really and their vehicles not being optimized. Sometimes they might have a whole bunch of vehicles sitting in the parking lot and wondering why we are using this van, but then we have an outside contractor. Or another one is hiring and retaining the right type of individuals, drivers in PACE, because you have competition with other outside organizations that could pay sometimes more than what PACE might pay, depending on your location. And so getting the right qualified drivers and retaining them for a long period of time can be a challenge.
Vernon, any thoughts to add?
I think sometimes we run into with more established sites, the efficiency, development, having the proper model that transportation can be efficient and effective, and cost friendly or more of an asset. So I think that's one of the things that we kind of run into as well when we hear that.
So now we're talking about how you manage transportation. What are some things that PACE operators and leadership overlook when it comes to transportation?
One thing they probably overlook is when you think about PACE, first of all, transportation is the heartbeat of your whole program. It's your backbone. It's where participants feel your care the first because drivers drive out and they're the first contact to the whole program. Transportation is like managing an ecosystem. It's managing that program to the point where if your transportation is running smoothly, it becomes a strategic asset instead of a liability. With the right operational assessments, transportation logistics structure, leadership and training, you can cut costs to prevent delays and create a better experience for participants and caregivers. So when you don't look at transportation like it's the heartbeat of your whole program, you'll you'll probably run into a lot of ditches.
And DRay Consulting is developing a PACE transportation health check so that PACE operators can better understand how to strengthen this really critical role. Tell us a little bit about that.
They're developing a tool where you'll probably use a QR code to scan and it'll ask you a series of questions and then grade according to your answers. Send you a grade of the kind of see where the health of your transportation is. Like you'll probably know your finances and different things, but we want people to get a real good look at is my transportation working or am I just throwing money at it? Or, so
Mm.
we'll be able to help them decide, if they need some help. Sometimes you might need help and you just don't know. but we want to make sure that we're able to help you identify some pain points, things that you might be experiencing, or just not operating at the maximum efficiency. And that tool will be able to help you do that.
So let's talk a little bit about efficiency because sometimes throwing more money at it is not the solution. So, what are some of the other potential solutions that arise?
One thing is proper training for transportation
Mm.
staff, period. A lot of times in a PACE program, and just really overall, you have training, but you got to make sure it's transportation specific training. And then, because a lot of times you might be doing a lot of modules for people that work inside all the time, but when you're working with people that doing hands on, you might even have to change your training model to fit that population, making sure that they're not just getting checking a box saying I've been trained, but they're actually learning what you're trying to put out. Training like transportation leaders, as far as like, and one thing we like to say is when it comes to scheduling efficiency, like, we want to make sure that they learn how to do that because there's no one out there teaching that. We do at DRay Group teach them how to schedule because sometimes you might buy software and realize, okay, I got the software, but we're still not getting what we expected. But it's because you haven't taught them how to schedule. Another area might be negotiation skills. As a transportation supervisor, you got to know how to negotiate with different people to work effectively with your vendors, your participants, and caregivers, and then fleet purchasing expertise. One thing is sometimes people are buying vehicles, but then are you getting the right vehicle? So it's teaching and training on making sure how do we purchase vehicles and go forth doing that to make sure we buy the right vehicles so we're getting the most bang for our buck.
Vernon, anything you'd like to add?
I think Darrell covered it very well.
So, transportation has so many elements. You're managing the relationship with the participant, building a culture around the drivers, training drivers. Then you have this software, and then you have this very expensive set of assets that you have to purchase, finance, maintain. I mean, this is a really multivariate a part of the organization that seems really unique. And it also touches a lot of parts of the PACE organization. It seems very complex.
It is very complex, and it's not just picking people up and bringing them to the center and taking them home. It's a whole lot of moving parts that move constantly. Transportation deals in real time. I like to tell, like when I'm meeting different clients, to let them know transportation is like liquid. It takes the shape of the day because you can have a plan, but a phone call will change your whole plan of that day. But you have to have the right transportation system in place to be able to move with all the changes that's going to come in pace. And they become daily. Mr. Vernon can tell you that every day you have a plan. It's always going to change by the end of the day. But you have to make sure you have a flexible transportation system that can handle those changes.
How do you help transportation integrate with all of the other departments in PACE?
Well, with DRay Group, we have like three programs that we currently use. One is called Bridge, another one is called Path, and one is called Flow. With our Bridge program, we're building reliable integration for departmental and ground efficiency. So we're bringing together that portion. With our Path program, it's our participant aligned transportation and harmony, where we focused on participants' journey and cross departmental coordination. And then we have a Flow, which is facilitating logistics for optimal workflow. Depending on, like, one thing we do is customize what we do. One thing doesn't fit every PACE program. And so when we go in and do an assessment of what's going on, we look at all the moving parts, and then you know how Batman has his bat belt and he has this incredible set of tools. We go in our tool belt and we pull out the right tools for that location to customize your transportation. Just like in PACE, they have the IDT team and they have all the different disciplines, to give a care plan for participant. Well, we do a care plan for your PACE program as far as transportation. We look at all the moving parts, and then me and Mr. Vernon come up with the care plan that's going to meet that particular location. Because you can be part of a same like network, you know, where you have like 5 locations, but all locations can run differently because of all the different moving parts. And so we make sure we create, a better way of saying a care plan for your transportation to make sure that we're customizing it to meet the needs of that location.
What about a brand new PACE? What can you do for a startup PACE program?
Last thing we could do is get in there before your door is open. Because a lot of times when you're starting a brand new PACE program, your your mind is on the cost of the building, getting things open. But you need to get transportation, get us in there beforehand because there's some decisions that you need to make before you open the doors. Because once the doors open, you start bringing in people. Now you're going to have a transportation problem if you don't address it beforehand. And so what we can do is while have your strategic plan, we'll look at that plan and advise you along the way and help you make moves beforehand so you don't get caught in the back end with things that will be kind of hard to pull back. Because once that transportation door is open, if you don't have the right model and the right things set up, it could cost you immensely.
For a larger PACE program that has multiple centers, if they take your transportation health checkup, what's the next step for them?
Really to get in contact with us and let us have a discussion and discover what did you discover during that health check, and then let's see what we can do to collaborate with them, to help them eliminate whatever pain point that they're experiencing. Doesn't matter how big or how small you are, we can work with all sizes. The biggest thing, let's have a conversation and then come to a good collaboration on how to eliminate what your stressor points are.
And those stressor points, a lot of them are economic because you can't change the price of the truck, perhaps, and you certainly can't change the cost of a gallon of fuel. And then you have local wage rates for drivers, and you want to be competitive in the market. So, what levers does an operator have after paying all those expenses?
A lot of times, what we tend to find is within your transportation, you might have waste going out, and you're thinking, well, I can't afford it. No, if you get us in there, we can stop the bleed and, and help you restructure some things to where money that was going out as waste now will come back in your program because we've eliminated some of the bleed. We've helped make things more efficient. And so it's you have it probably within your transportation department, you just don't know it. Or it could just be also within your operations. Because what we like to do is untangle processes and find out if your processes are not connected properly, that you're wasting money sometimes, a lot of times. And so what we try to do is make sure transportation is aligned within the interdepartmental of your whole PACE program to make sure we eliminate waste and help you out as far as like saving money, time, and energy.
So, after a PACE program works with you, what difference does that make to the participants themselves?
All participants are like most of the time they are getting better service. And one thing about participants, no matter who you are, we all love good service. And but not just even the participants, even sometimes the staff themselves, because sometimes helping the driver feel more confident and competent brings their energy level there. It helps them address them, make them feel better coming to work, doing a good job, and then seeing the joy of the participant ride on the van, because just the van ride itself is an experience for the participant. And so just, having better service, happy drivers, happy employees makes the whole PACE experience better.
If you were hiring drivers for PACE, what would you say to a man or woman who is considering being a driver for PACE? How would you tell them how meaningful this work is, or why take this job over delivering packages, perhaps?
It's all about people. You can deliver a box and sling it any kind of way, but you can't sling people. And one thing about it, you'll learn about, especially the elderly, the wisdom, the love, just being around, making their life better because they helped us at one time. But now you're able to pour back into them. And just that one on one touch, you'll be surprised just a hug, a smile, what it does to an elderly person that might not be getting it from their home, but they get it from that driver on the way to and from that center. Like Vernon said, we become family to them. And that one on one and just the stories. I got 30 plus years of stories I can tell you about different things I've learned from the different people I've got to transport on my van and just the relationships, the family members. That's the seeing like a caregiver come in stressed out, but then get involved in our PACE program overall, and then now they can breathe. Now that they can actually go on a trip because mom or dad's being taken care of. So the impact that you'll have on an individual if you're about people. Now, if you're a person that's about other things, this may not be for you. But if you're about,
Mhm.
helping people, PACE is the perfect place for you, where you actually can see coordinated care. Because some people get like silo care where they have three different doctors that don't communicate. Now you're on 20 different meds. We see that all the time. But you get in the PACE program, have that coordinated care. Now they're down to three or four just because they had a conversation, with the IDT team. So PACE to me is like one of the greatest secrets out there that's starting to get exposed. And we're trying to
Yes.
spread that good news everywhere.
Vernon, tell me how much the drivers love working with you and Darrell.
They love working with us and because we're relatable. When we come to sites, we're not only consultants, but we're hands-on consultants. DRay Group. Darrell spoke earlier about how we train them how to care for the participant, how to interact, how to take time, how to assist them stepping down the van, staying close with them, as well as hands-on as far as walking with them, making sure they're taken care of, because that is the priority. We always say at DRay Group, if we're not taking care of the participant, we need to find us something else to do. And so we shower that throughout the PACE world and encourage anyone that we collaborate with, especially drivers, to understand this is someone's life that you have the opportunity to have a positive effect on, and to take advantage of that situation.
When the drivers enjoy their job working with participants, that's a benefit to everybody. But the driver now has to report to a supervisor. And if that supervisor is stressed out or maybe untrained in how to manage this group of drivers, that can hurt the organization. Tell me how you work with supervisors to build better teams and better managerial relationships.
Well, at DRay Group, one thing we do is like that's different than some consultants is we're hands on. We're not going to tell a supervisor what they're going to do. We're going to show them. We're going to get down there in the trenches with them, work with them throughout their workday, and then we're going to work on thought process. They might have a situation pop up. We're going to sit there and give them advice on, recommendation of why, what to do, and why we're thinking this way. We're going to work with them side by side. Our thing is when we go in the organization, we're not going in there saying you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong. No, we're coming here to enhance what you've already been doing because you don't know what you don't know. We're not coming in here to look at, we don't care where you are. We know where we're going to take you. And so we hook alongside with you, work with you. We're not here to try to get people's jobs. No, we are here to give you the tools so you can be successful. We're going to speak life into that person because sometimes, just life itself is beating them down. We treat them as a person and get down there with them. We're not there to do nothing but encourage them, help them be the best version of themselves. And so we get down there with them. We're not like I said, we will me and Mr. Vernon, we've done schedules. If we stay there long enough, we'll figure out your schedule for you because it just
Hmm.
starts making sense to us. And we'll get in there and work with it with you. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to show you and work with you and help you to do it. So when that's one thing I think Mr. Vernon said it once before. It is and transportation is the only one that don't have a peer, as far as like a transportation supervisor, he don't have another peer in the building. So he's having to figure stuff out by himself. He might know somebody at another site somewhere, but it's different. So he's the one person in the building that don't have a peer to talk to and all that stuff. So we're gonna become that peer for that person so they can bounce things off and work with them. And then even after we leave a site, we still got relationships with, coordinators throughout where we might get a phone call every once in a while. We'll answer it
Hmm.
and we'll just, hey, we'll tell them what our thoughts on things. Why? Because now they have someone they can talk to that relates to what they're talking about.
Really valuable for the organization and the people who work there.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about? What did I not ask you that you want to mention?
Really, you're hitting kind of the key spots. Our biggest thing, like for us, is just letting people know DRay Group is out here to help any PACE organization, that wants our help. We want to collaborate with you, work with you. You can reach us, on our website. You can hit the QR code right there on the screen. You can call me at 803-381-3650 and just have a conversation. Our biggest thing is we want to be a blessing to all PACE sites because we know the pains of transportation. We don't want you to experience it. So let us work with you.
And it sounds like that would be a really good investment for any organization because right now everyone's expected to do a lot more with a whole lot less.
Yes, we can help you with that.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you very much.
Okay,
Achilles.
thank you.
All right, so I'm going to end our recording session here.